We picked this side of Value City Arena because there's basketball banners behind us, but it's really because it's the closest to the football season. Football stadium, if I could talk. It's right over there. Outside of the Schottenstein Center with Bill Landis and Doug LeMaurice. We're here to start with our Final Four picks for this season as part of our preview for Ohio State's basketball season. Doug, I'll start with you. Who's in your Final Four?
I'm going to go with Arizona, which looked like a Final Four team before Brandon Ashley got hurt last year, and they still almost were a Final Four team. I'm going to go with Wisconsin, which was a Final Four team last year and has everybody back and is going to be a popular pick. Then I tried to get a little different, and I'm staying away from some of the obvious ones. I went with Virginia, which was a surprise team in the ACC last year. They have a lot of guys back. I think they'll be less of a surprise, but they have a lot of veteran guys. And then this one's a little weird. Texas. Texas has basically its whole rotation back, 9 out of 10 guys, and Ohio State fans might remember Miles Turner. Remember Miles Turner?
I do remember Miles Turner.
That center Ohio State was trying to get. Texas got him, so they're adding like a 5-star center recruit to a veteran team, and I think they could be good by March.
I picked mine around a center prospect, too. We'll get to that, though. Mount Landis?
My Final Four, I have Duke, who's pretty young, but they have, I think, the center you were alluding to, Jahlil Okafor,
yes,
who I think will end up being the best player in the country. And they also brought in Tyus Jones, who will be one of the top freshmen. Kentucky, which is kind of strange because Kentucky, for all the one-and-done talk about John Calipari, is actually kind of a veteran team this year. The Harrison twins are back. Willie Cauley-Stein is back, and he brought in another good recruiting class to a team that was the national runner-up. So I think they're back in the Final Four. Wisconsin, I have in the Final Four. I think Sam Decker and Kaminsky are a pretty good 1-2 punch, maybe rivaling the best 1-2 punch of any other team in the country. And then I wanted to get weird with my fourth pick as well. So I'm going to go Stetson. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go Villanova, who was I believe they were a 2 seed last year and I think lost to UConn in the NCAA tournament. And they have a lot back. They have some good guard play. And I think it sets up nicely for them in the Big East, where I think they'll kind of run through that league and get a high seed and get some favorable matchups in the tournament. So they're my fourth Final Four team.
I guess I shouldn't have gone last because you overlapped a little bit, but I'm not quite as imaginative as you guys. It's kind of hard to pick if we're going to pick, I'm just going to pick the best teams. First, I'm going to go with Arizona. I know they lost Gordon, but for all the same reasons that you alluded to. Ashley coming back, that was a huge loss for them last year, and just having him back I think is going to be a huge lift to that team. I'm going to go with Kentucky because they're bringing everybody back and then they're bringing everybody in. Yeah. I read that they have basically 2 rotations of 12 players that they have like 2 separate teams that they're going to try to run with. And I'm in love with depth at every sport, at every position, at every level. And I think that's kind of tricky. I don't know. You think that could work?
It didn't work last year. I mean, they didn't try the rotation thing necessarily, but I think you can have too many good players. And they struggled, I think, with that at times last year. And they don't have everybody back. They don't have Julius Randle back.
They don't have Randle back, I know.
But they have a lot of good players back. It was interesting to me that you guys both picked Kentucky. I mean, it was everybody picked Kentucky last year, and then they weren't that team at all until the tournament. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they were at 8 seed, and they went to the national title game.
I almost won the tournament pool, if you'll remember, because I picked Kentucky in the Final Four.
So I'll be curious to see if they get it together a little earlier this year. But I think, when you have that much natural talent they showed last year, you don't have to have a great year, and you can still almost win it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing, too. It's like basketball takes a while to, mesh. Ohio State goes through it every year, and they always seem to figure it out. I don't know if it's always going to look pretty in the regular season, but just talent matches everything when you get to that tournament. And I think they proved it last year, which is precisely why I picked them. Also, I picked Wisconsin because they have basically everybody back. Yeah. Kaminsky, I think, is a really nice player ever since he scored 43 against North Dakota, I believe it was last year. I've been in love with him. I think he's a really good player. And who did I already say already? Because I lost my train of thought.
You said
Arizona, Kentucky, Wisconsin. Oh, yeah, Duke. Landis is like, Duke. Yes, Duke, because Duke's a very good basketball team, and I believe they'll have the best center in college basketball, and the center is one of the toughest things to match up against at any level of basketball, and I really think that he's going to be, Ohio State was on him for a long time. Thought there was a chance that they were going to get him. They didn't. Duke did, and I think that's going to be a really tough thing for people to match up with. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
It's interesting. We all picked Wisconsin in the Final Four. The Big Ten's waiting on a national title. It's been a while. They've had some really good teams. They've had Final Four teams. Teams come close. I think probably this Wisconsin team is as ready to win a national title as any Big Ten team we've seen in a while. Even like that Greg Oden, Michael Conley team at Ohio State, that was great talent. It was young talent.
Mm-hmm.
This is talent and experience.
You think Thad knows what year the Big Ten last won a national championship was?
Yeah, I think so.
It's 2000, everyone.
We ask about it.
We ask about it every day. So for the 3-person cleveland.com Ohio State coverage team, we're kind of dipping our toe into basketball a little bit. We're still going to Minnesota this weekend, so stay tuned for preview stuff for basketball through Thursday and Friday, and stay tuned for our full football coverage and, of course, recruiting. For cleveland.com, I'm Ari Wasserman. We got Bill Landis and Doug Lamarice.